Welcome to CST 8300 Week 7, um, also known as Working Together Part 2. So just an overview of this week's content. We review a little bit of some working together strategies, as well as discussing workplace harassment and diversity and discrimination. So we'll begin with harassment. So what is workplace harassment? So workplace harassment consists of improper and offensive conduct by an individual that is directed at another person. This occurs in the workplace, including at any event or location related to the workplace. The individual knew or responsibly should have known that it would cause offense or harm, and acts or comments that demean, belittle, or cause personal humiliation, as well as any act of intimidation or threat. This is normally a series of incidents. Harassment is the result of repetition of behavior, so it's not a one and done. And however, it can be one severe incident if it is significant and has lasting impact. So what are some examples of behavior that may be considered workplace harassment? So it's important to consider, there's a list here of what is harassment and what isn't harassment. So under what is harassment, so this is examples of things that are considered harassment. These could be yelling, threatening, consistently interrupting, preventing someone from speaking, unwanted sexual advances or comments, rude, degrading, offensive, or intimidating remarks and gestures, retaliating after a harassment complaint, discrediting someone with malicious gossip or rumors, ridiculing them, having someone perform demeaning tasks outside of job requirements, setting someone up for failure, name calling privately or publicly, ignoring someone or isolating them. A list of things that are not harassment, for example, are normal management, such as assigning tasks and applying progressive discipline, normal workplace conflict, where appropriate steps are taken to resolve it, normal work-related stress, difficult situations of employment, professional constraints, organizational challenges, a single incident involving an inappropriate remark or tone that gets resolved, a social relationship welcomed by both the individuals, and friendly gestures among coworkers. So it's important to recognize the difference between what is harassment and what is not. On the topic of harassment, we have sexual harassment. So sexual harassment can occur between anyone in a workplace, regardless of position, gender, or age. And usually this ends up in a quid pro quo. So this translates to something for something, and it's a situation where employment benefit or consequence is dependent on sexual behavior. So this is promising or implying a promotion, a raise, or any other benefit in exchange for sexual activity, or this could be threatening or implying a penalty if sexual advances are refused. This can also commonly look like a hostile work environment, so verbal or physical behavior of a sexual nature that others find offensive or uncomfortable, and these are usually ongoing. This could look like asking questions about or talking about sexual activities. This could look like vulgar humor or language related to sexuality or gender, inappropriate staring, invading personal space, or unnecessary physical contact, gender-based comments about physical characteristics or mannerisms. So something to think about, why do you think many people do not report harassment, and how can this be improved? So now moving on to diversity and discrimination. So on the subject of stereotypes and prejudices, perception is your interpretation of reality, often based on past experiences. Stereotyping is forming a generalized image of a particular person or group or situation. Prejudice is often unfavorable judgment or opinion based on your perception of a group, individual, or situation. Can often be reduced by learning about the target of your prejudice. So these things may lead to discrimination. So how can you change your perceptions and eliminate stereotypes and prejudice? So eliminating personal prejudice. This week you're going to be taking on Project Implicit, and I've attached the link there. So um, learn what your biases and prejudices are by trying to acknowledge them and learning about them. And you can do this through Project Implicit. It'll ask you a series of questions, and it kind of tells you what your biases might be. Consider where these biases might affect your decisions and specifically plan to avoid them. Consciously try to be friendlier with those who you may be prejudiced towards and spend time with them, get to know them. Question positive stereotypes, because are they really positive? Talk about it, especially with those who have similar goals, and seek out media that combats prejudice and discrimination. So I really like this quote. Your first thought is what you've been conditioned to think. Your next thought defines who you are. So on discrimination, discrimination is an action that leads to unfair or negative treatment of an individual or group who is protected under the law. In Canada, there are many possible grounds or reasons for discrimination that are protected under the Canadian Human Rights Act. So protected grounds for discrimination in Canada include race, ethnic origin, color, religion, age, disability, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, marital status, family status, genetic characteristics, conviction for which a pardon has been granted or a record suspended. So what is diversity? So we're going to focus on workplace diversity. Regardless of our differences, everyone should be treated fairly, with respect, and with professionalism, no matter what. And diversity should be viewed as an asset in the workplace. It can greatly benefit an organization. Individual differences related to diversity should only be an issue if they negatively affect performance, and only if the lower performance is not a result of unfair barriers. So, potential benefits of workplace diversity, these are just a few. So, employee engagement, different perspectives, increased creativity, increased profits, higher innovation, employee retention, problem solving, effective hiring, decision making, and company reputation. So that's all for just a few slides. However, there are a few links in Brightspace. So for the week 7 content, along with Project Implicit, there are a few things that you will have to go through in your resources for week 7, including a video about discrimination with my colleague Chi-Chi, and as well as another prof, Nadia, and I think you will find that very interesting. I work with both of them. They're both fantastic. There is a TED Talk. There's also a few other workplace sexual violence videos, and a little bit of e-learning in there as well. And for weekly tasks, this is the ethical debate, which most of you have already chosen topics for, which is fantastic. And I believe that is all. And I will go into assignments. Just to model as to where you can find that. Oh, it's probably better through the content at the top and then through assignments in the sidebar. And this would have been assigned in week 6, but just I like to look at how we can find these links, because sometimes a video just helps people if they're unsure of where to find this assignment. And this is the assignment page. Please email me if you have any questions.